you've ever done any reading about Music in the Mood of the Fifth, you've probably discovered that people often describe what Music in the Mood of the Fifth is not. So you'll often read things like, Music in the Mood of the Fifth is not diatonic, or it's not pentatonic, or it doesn't have a strong sense of meter or a strong sense of the beat, or you might have read that it's not in a key, or it doesn't have a tonic. All of these terms are things that are very common to Western musical practice. And the anthroposophic tradition and the tradition of Rudolf Steiner comes out of a generally Western philosophical tradition. And our Western musical traditions have become fairly ubiquitous worldwide. Now, that's not to say that you couldn't have grown up with other musical traditions. There are many, many, many others that are still vibrant and alive today. But many of us, if we've grown up in the West, have experienced a great deal of Western music, classical music or other styles of popular music, rock, jazz, pop, funk, etc. All of these styles of music have certain common traits. Things like beat, meter, tonic. They use diatonic scales or pentatonic scales. These are all things that are very, very common across all of these different genres of music. And even if you don't have any formal musical training, even if you've never played an instrument or never sung a note in your life, you've heard all of these different things many, many times. So you may not know yet what they are, but you have heard them before, and believe it or not, they have developed in you an innate ability to sense what is normal and what seems to be not normal. It's kind of like with grammar. If someone uses a grammatical turn of phrase that sounds a little bit odd to you, you might not be able to put your finger on why it sounded odd. You might not think to yourself, oh, that was a bad verb conjugation, or that was the wrong subject, or something like that. But it might just sound a little bit strange to you, or different, or unusual. And so you recognize the fact that it's unusual. Similarly, you may have heard music that sounds unusual to you, and it's because that music in some way departs from the typical cultural traditions that you've grown accustomed to. Often when people listen to Music in the Mood of the Fifth, they get this kind of feeling. They feel that this music is in some way unique or exceptional, and that it's different than any other music that they've heard before. Without understanding what is typical in Western music, it's very difficult to understand why something is exceptional. So what we'll do in this course is we'll spend a lot of time talking about what is typical in Western music. And so all of those terms that I used earlier will start to become much more clear to you. Once you understand those terms and how Western music behaves, it'll be much easier to understand why Music in the Mood of the Fifth is so unique and so exceptional. Without understanding the typical, it's almost impossible to understand the exceptional. So we're going to spend a fair amount of time on the typical before delving into the details of Music in the Mood of the Fifth.